Hello and welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I'm your host, Jay Nixon. And as always, guys, I need you to do three things. I need you to prepare to be disrupted. I need you to prepare to be inspired. And I need you to prepare to transform into the person that you deserve and desire to be. And today I've got a special guest from you all the way from Saskatchewan, Canada. Hello to all my Canadian peeps. My client, Amanda, is going to blow your mind today with her transformation story. She's going to tell you about a chance meeting that turned her life around. She's going to tell you all kind of amazing things that have happened since she made the decision to reignite the passion for her life. And ever since doing that, everything has just been unbelievable. I don't want to steal any of the thunder away from the show, guys, so I'm going to turn it over to the interview. Prepare to be dazzled. Prepare to be wowed. I promise you, you are going to love this interview. All right, we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, welcome to the final day of Mindset Revolution, day 6. I know I'm just talking to myself and Amanda and Marissa right now, but I'll continue for those of you guys that do watch this on replay. I just want to give a big, giant hug of gratitude for you guys for actually showing up big this week. Showing up for yourself and then just absorbing all of this content. I know it has been a lot. I know it's been a big volume of information. So if you've absorbed all the calls, if you've watched one call, no matter what it is, I encourage you to take action on that information that you have got access to, because that's really where the differentiator is in life. Is it's consumption without action, or is what really keeps people stuck. So if you're listening to the replay, I really strongly encourage you take massive action on the things that we've talked about. I'm going to shut up for a second, kind of let everybody kind of pop in, and then we all know we have a really special guest today. I'm going to banter for a second, and then I'll bring in Amanda. We'll have some fun. We'll do a Q&A, and then we will wrap up the week of Mindset Revolution, which I'm going to be a little bit honest with you. I'm kind of bummed that it's all coming to an end. I actually look forward to doing these. So I'm going to give it about 90 seconds, guys, and then I will jump into our content for the day. We'll get Amanda in here, and we will hear her story and her successes and all of the awesomeness that she's got going on. I know it's Saturday at 10 in the morning. I have no earthly idea even what time it is for Amanda right now. Amanda, is it 11 for you? 12? 11. So you're just an hour. Okay, cool. Huh. Amanda's in Saskatchewan, Canada. That's why I was asking. So we'll give it about 30 seconds, and then we will jump into, I have a feeling we're going to get a lot more watches on replay today because it is Saturday morning. I know that, we've got a lot of activities going on and people just have massive stuff happening on the weekends. So we will not take offense to you watching on replay as long as you watch on replay. And if you do have any questions for Amanda and you're watching the replay, please just tag her in, tag Marissa in, tag me in so that we can see those questions and make sure we get them answered for you guys so that you don't miss out on anything that you need information and access to. So let's, without further ado, and before I do that, guys, I will, we are actually starting Ignite 2.0 Mindset on Monday. Tomorrow, we will have a welcome Zoom meet and greet with all of the participants of Ignite 2.0. So we'll all be on the same screen together. You'll get a link from Marissa today. It'll be at noon California time tomorrow. So we'll all jump on. I'll give you an overview of kind of how the 30 days is going to look, and you'll actually get your first assignment. Your first work will begin tomorrow. So it'll actually be a day early, but I like to give a little extra value, so there's no big deal in that. So if you've already joined, be looking for that. If you decide you're going to join, be looking for that as well. We'll be hitting you guys with a Zoom link, and we'll all be connecting tomorrow at noon California time. So let me get Amanda in here, and let's have some fun. And Amanda, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, there you are. Welcome to Mindset Revolution. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with me.
I'm super excited and super nervous.
No, there's nothing to be nervous about. I mean, we were just going to tell, we kind of have a unique story about how we met and how this whole thing is like kind of evolved into where it is today. So I think that's going to be really cool because I honestly don't believe in life that there's any coincidences. I think that we're presented with opportunities, and people are put in our lives for certain reasons, and a lot of times we overlook those reasons just because we're like, oh, that's just some so and so that I met. But you didn't. You actually took advantage of an opportunity, and it's been really cool, and as far as I'm concerned. So go ahead and just kind of tell the story of like how we met, and then kind of how you got from where you are from that day to like where you are now.
All right. Well, I was in Palm Springs with two girlfriends, Jill and Sharon. We were having a girls' trip, and we just rent a house or whatever. Anyways, one night we went to Mastro's because they have the best lemon drop martinis in the world. So we just go there for the martinis and to people watch because it's interesting to watch people in Palm Springs. Anyways, we're sitting in the bar, and I wasn't having the greatest day. I had a fight with my hubby. So I was, drinking my sorrows away and eating my sorrows away. And it was a really, really bad day. And I'm sitting at the bar with Jill and Sharon, and Jill's sitting beside this gorgeous lady, and they're just chatting it up because Jill's very social and she's chatting it up. And here it's Lori, and beside her is Jay, and they're talking, and I couldn't hear anything. And Jill said something about, oh, she would totally love him. She's into health and fitness too. And I'm like, what? So then we're talking, and then I kind of just did verbal diarrhea about how I'm, eating my sorrows away and blah, blah, blah. And then after we left, I felt like such a schmuck. I'm like, he's going to think I am the biggest loser in the world, and he doesn't care. Like, oh my gosh. And then I found out you had a book. And so Jill and I downloaded it. We're laying in the pool reading the book on audio books that next day. Anyways, I just kind of watched him online and just followed him. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Then I run my own boot camp with a friend of mine, Kara, and we have an amazing group of peeps, and lots of them are actually on this wellness lab. They've joined us on here. Anyways, Michelle was going on a holiday. I'm like, hey, whoa, you're going to Palm Springs. If you want to go work out, if you want to continue working out, you need to go see Jay at the Thrive Studio. I'm like, this is his information. Look him up. Go. And she's like, awesome. And I didn't know if she's actually going to do it. Well, she did. And she kicked butt. And I gave her my book for you to sign too, because I thought it was super cool. And then that was the second slap of, hey, Amanda, this is your chance. Let's do this. And so ever since then, I don't even remember when that was, in the spring or no, winter. I don't even remember when that was. But that's when I really hopped on. I'm like, I got to get this. And then C19 hit, and it was the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've really, actually, I read your second book. Your second book was pretty deadly. The permission slip, mic drop. It was unreal. I was like, wow, I have permission to take care of me and to love me and be awesome, because I don't see that in myself. And C19 has really just given me time and an opportunity to see what's really important and what matters.
And I think you've taken unbelievable advantage of that opportunity. And I think there's a few lessons in what Amanda was talking about. And so, as I said earlier, I don't believe there's any coincidences. I believe that we met that night at Mastro's for a specific reason. And even though the connection was really brief, and then it just kind of transitioned into her, getting my first book and reading it. And then, having Michelle come, and then worked out. And then it was kind of like this relationship started to build on its own, really. It was kind of an organic growth. Mm-hmm. And then after Michelle left, I think that's kind of when we started the Wellness Lab. And you joined that. And then we did our first Ignite program a few months ago, and you joined that and had a really massive amount of success. And now you're in my private coaching group, Thrive Forever Fit. And it's just, I've watched you go from that night at Mastro's to where you are today. And I won't say you're a completely different person, no, but your energy and aura is definitely different. Like, you have more self-confidence now. You're definitely going after things a little more aggressively than you were. And I think it all stems from you deciding that was okay. Like, you gave yourself finally permission to let, Amanda be Amanda. Like, you didn't have to take on everybody else's stuff without filling up your own cup. And so I think that's why C19, and I think the same thing, it's been such a blessing for me. I've actually grown by leaps and bounds because I think you did what I did. You looked at it as an opportunity to focus on one of the most important things in your life, and that is yourself. And you've really just taken that and ran with it. Give me an example, because a lot of people hear us say that and they're like, oh yeah, opportunity, and you took advantage of it. Give us an example of that. Like, what was something you're doing now that you weren't doing, and or you maybe probably never would have done if this hadn't been given, if this opportunity hadn't been presented?
Promises to myself. So I've been keeping tons of promises to myself. Just stupid things. But you know what? Those stupid little things really matter, because if you don't show up for yourself, then who will? Nobody will, right? Yeah. Like, my goal is I have to drink my 4 big water bottles a day, something super small and little, but it matters. And when I don't, I have to chug. Even at nighttime, like every day I have to get my 10,000 steps in. It seems like peanuts to some people, but I work at a desk job sitting all day, and it's hard. So one night I was laying in bed and I looked at my Fitbit. I'm like, oh crap, I'm already like in my jammies. I hopped on that treadmill and got her done, because that was my promise to myself. My journaling too, I've been really working on that. Like, Tiffany's story was so much like mine. I'm like, her and I are like 2 peas in a pod, honest to Pete. Like, I journal a little bit and then I'd stop, and then I would start and then I would stop. But C19, once that started, I'm like, I got to do this. I got to journal every day. And I have been since April 30th. I looked back. April 30th is when I started. And everything, my finances are better. My relationship with my husband is way better. It is crazy how everything just kind of intertwines with each other.
It's totally. I took 2 things away from what you just said. So what C19 did is it basically, before that, guys, and this is I'm speaking to a lot of you guys right now, like, you allowed the busyness of life to cover up all of the things that you needed, that you should be really focused on. But you could always put them on the back burner because you're like, I'm so busy. I got kids. I got a husband. I'm working full time. I got this boot camp. I'm overwhelmed. I've got chaos and this and that. And so you allowed yourself to cover up the work that needed to be done. And so what this did is it basically just, it laid it on the table in front of you, and you're like, oh, wow. Like, now I really do need to start focusing on these things. And you were one of the big pieces of that. Like, you had put yourself on the back burner so that you could take care of all those other things. And now I bet what you're realizing is, now that you're taking care of yourself, all those other things, you just said it, all those other things got better.
Absolutely. They're aligning in. It's because I know how to deal with things better, and I don't get all frazzled up. Like, yes, life isn't back to normal right now. Like, the kids aren't at school. They're not in their sports or whatever. But which is honestly why it's a gift right now, because I'm able to establish all these, things, so I know how to deal with it when it does arise.
Yeah, you're developing new patterns, habits, and rituals that are going to carry you forever now, and you never have to go back to that old chaotic way. And something else you said is like the small things, right? Those breaking those little teeny tiny promises. There's a commencement speech that happened at the University of Texas, like, I don't even know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and it's an admiral in the Navy, and he was talking about Navy SEALs. And he kept talking about the little things, and he kept talking about like making your bed in the morning, like putting your shoes away, like doing these tiny little things. And at the end of the speech, he said the reason that we focus so heavily on those is we know that if you can't do the little things, when the big things come up, you'll never be able to handle them. The magnitude of them will seem so large that you won't even think you can conquer it. But if you do all those little things consistently, it actually builds the momentum where when a bigger thing comes at you, you've actually got so much power and strength and force, like it doesn't seem that big anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where your power is coming out. And your journaling is exceptional. Like, you actually do what I really love, and you freeform write everything. And so you post a picture of your journal every day. And I think that's ultimately powerful, because that's the brain connecting with the actual words. And I bet you're seeing just a tremendous amount of power come out of that, because it's so mindful, it's so intentional. And sometimes if you've got a situation you're working through, when you write that down, it actually helps you get clarity about it.
Yeah. Well, and even like every Sunday, I take way more time, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to journal, just because I'm going back at the beginning of the week, just looking over everything and seeing how I did and how the week went and how I dealt with things. And then I also reflect on my wins. Like, even these small, stupid little wins, I'm like, hey, check, that's got to go on the win list. Like, it's so stupid because, well, some of you will understand, some of you won't. I have a new vein that's popping out in my arm. It's a huge deal. Or seeing veins in my stomach. Like it's such a stupid little thing.
It's not.
But it's not. It's a big deal. You know?
Me, I'm a firm believer in celebrate everything. And Absolutely. So I think the more you do that, the more like you start seeing wins everywhere too.
Yeah.
Right?
And like this morning, 75 burpees. Like, are you kidding me? Nonstop. Like, it's unreal. Before, I could barely do 10.
Yeah. And so I think the being able to see the vein is kind of a really unique metaphor, right? Because it is very, I mean, think about a vein just in and of itself. Like it's a very small thing. It's very, like, oh my gosh, like it's very minuscule, but there's so much that has had to happen in order for that to be visible. So you had to do a bunch of little tiny things consistently over and over and over again in order to see this little teeny weeny win to most people, right? If most people saw it, they'll be like, oh wow, that's great, Amanda. I can see the vein in your arm, you know? But it's only because it's like the whole one-hit wonder in music, right? Like everybody thinks, oh my God, they had that one song and it's so popular, they must be so successful. Nobody remembers about them like sleeping in a van and driving across the country and playing in dive bars. They only see the song. So that little vein has a big story. Mm-hmm. And that story is where the power is. And so use that story that I just told you guys and that Amanda just mentioned as a metaphorical thing for the win doesn't have to be grandiose. I mean, she didn't say like, oh, all of a sudden now I have, biceps the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
She, the win doesn't always have to be this monumental trophy. It's what's important to you. And I think it just shows progress. It shows that your consistency is paying off, right?
Yeah. Well,
and so awesome.
My two girls, I've had body issues my entire life. And like my boot camp peeps are awesome. And I try to put on a show for them. I did right before this all went down or whatever. I would put on a show and I would pretend I'm awesome, right? Because they don't know what's going on inside. Right. It's like I was wearing a costume, but they had no idea what was going on inside. And I took my personal training course. I took the ISSA and then a Canadian version as well. But I wasn't out there. I wasn't being who I should be because I was not confident in myself. I know my stuff. I know the stuff and I know what to do, but I wasn't confident in teaching somebody it because, well, you look like that. Right. Or, like I was, like Tiffany said it yesterday, do as I say, but not as I do. Right. I was a closet eater and it's embarrassing. Like I could eat if people know me, I've meal prepped for years and I can eat like a champ. But what they don't know is when something's bothering me, I go home and hide and I eat in the dark. It's what you do in the dark that matters, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's, yeah.
And all that, well, no, I get it 100% where you're coming from. And I think everybody listening does as well. And all that really is about not being in alignment, right? Like you weren't congruent with like your words and your actions weren't matching. And when your words and your actions don't match, I don't care who you are, you can't authentically like deliver a message. You can't authentically coach and you can't authentically be a leader and a mentor because there's that part of you that knows like, I'm out of alignment myself. And so really what this has done, if you've taken this opportunity, like working through these programs and whatnot and using all the skills and the techniques is like, now you've just basically shifted yourself back into alignment. And so it's easy for you now to say like, listen, I'm doing everything I'm telling you to do. And that makes your message so much more powerful. And yeah. I bet, Mike, a guarantee is this. I bet people around you have even noticed. I bet your students at the boot camp and everything like that, they've probably noticed a new version of you. Even though you probably were really good at masking it, I bet there's a different energy that you're delivering.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't done boot camp yet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hopefully in the fall we'll be starting up. Usually we take the summer off because peeps are too busy. They kind of boycott Swift Current, but hopefully in the fall. But I've just noticed a huge difference even in myself. Like I talk to myself like in the mirror. And I did the champ thing the other day. I'm like, what would the champ do? That champ would lift up those heavier weights and push through. Yeah. And I talk to myself and I'm like, you got this. And you're beautiful. And look at those muscles. And look at how awesome you are. And look at how you're pushing through. And or even with the girls. Like, I'm just really trying to be a positive person.
Positive self-talk too. That's
Absolutely.
Powerful, right? Because
In the morning.
they're listening to what you're saying. They're watching how you treat yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's a message here as well. And so what I didn't say this the other night, and I really wish I had of, and so I'm glad you brought this up, Amanda. If you don't positively talk to yourself, now think about this for a second, because this may be hard for you to wrap your mind around. If you don't positively talk to yourself, if you're not talking to yourself, then yourself begins to talk to you. And that's usually never a positive thing. Like when you allow that voice in your head to dictate the thoughts and the conversations in your head, that's usually the negative patterns. And that's usually the, like, you're not worth it. Like, you don't deserve this. Like, you know what I mean? It's that negative self-talk. And so you guys all need to get really good at creating that avatar and talking to yourself. Like, be positive about who you are and what you're doing. And I think that goes right along with like celebrating the wins and the journaling. And like, I mean, it's like you said earlier, it's amazing how everything affects everything, right? This affects that. And that's why I talked about last night. It's like that nucleus of really what you're creating. And that nucleus is the way you feel about yourself. It's your mindset. And that transitions out like a spider web to every other aspect and fashion of your life. How have you noticed, like, with this new mindset, this new, like, powerful, positive, like, how has it affected your overall, like, energy and spirit and, like, you know, anxiety levels and sadness and, you know, all those types of things, like, that we all get? You know, how are you handling situations better?
Actually, this is great. Last week, I had a really, really bad week at work. Mm-hmm. C19 starting to hit my area a little bit harder. And some people at work are taking it not very well. And the anxiety level at work is just atrocious. And I ended up getting into a tailspin. I was like, oh my God, my throat is sore and my chest is tightening up. I can't breathe and my throat is closing in. And I was freaking out. And I was like, oh my God, I have C19. I don't. I have a sore throat from the air conditioning in the office. Right. And the tightening of my chest was a freaking panic attack. Right. I went downstairs in the bathroom at work and I sat in the stall on the toilet and was breathing 6x6, breathing in, breathing out. And I'm like, positive in, positive out, and just sitting there for a few minutes because I'm like, I have to do this because I can't breathe. And when I got home, I could breathe. It was unreal. I'm like, well, obviously it was an anxiety attack. And instead of going home and going into the closet and eating like Amanda used to do, Amanda sat down and wrote it all out in her journal and and I shared it with the tribe because they are the safest, best group I have ever been a part of. Oh, agree. Like, it's unreal. So,
well, I think the lesson in that is that nobody's immune to freaking out, right? Like, no. Your brain is designed to freak out. Your brain is designed to go into a fight or flight mode. The message that Amanda just gave you guys is that it doesn't have to exacerbate into those old bad behaviors. It's okay to feel like you're feeling like, holy shit, like I can't breathe, my chest hurts, I have a sore throat, maybe I'm getting, and then you were able to, like, stop it and say, okay, let's pause, reassess our state, get my breath under control, get my mind out of that feedback loop. And so it didn't last. But before all of this, that probably could have lasted you a week, a month, right? And you could have really easily spiraled. And not only would that have affected you individually, it would have affected your kids. It would have affected your husband, because when he got home, you wouldn't have been like, oh, hey, honey, it's so great to see you. I'm glad you're home. It would have been, I'm dying, right? And when we think we're dying, we don't really behave the same way as when we don't think we're dying. It's just it's human nature. So I'm proud of you for using the skills and using the information and also using the page. I think this is an important feature as well. Support and accountability, guys. I can't stress to you enough. And I know that everybody's like, well, I have friends and I have this, and I think that's amazing. And if they're strong, maybe it's good enough. But if it's not, and you're finding yourself in these freak out places, you may need a little stronger foundation of support and accountability from a bigger group and from a really strong, powerful group. And that's kind of what Amanda was talking about. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm a big believer in. Like the support and the accountability that we provide in our Ignite program and in our Thrive Forever Fit program is unfounded. Let me tell you a quick story really quick. One of my business managers, she manages some of the biggest coaches in the business. Like she used to manage all of Gabby Bernstein's stuff and like big name people that you guys would all know if I said your name. One of them has a T as his first letter and an R as his second letter. And she said to me a long time ago, and she continues to reiterate this, she does a bunch of stuff behind the scenes for Lori and I. She said, I've never seen a group, Jay, and I manage Facebook groups from you name it, every kind of business, every kind of thing you want. She said, I've never seen a Facebook group like yours. He's like, it's the most interactive, it's the most encouraging, it's the most supportive group I've ever seen. She's like, I have never seen anything bad go down in your group. And she said, that's unheard of. And I think that's kind of what you were just saying. Like, it's probably the safest, coolest place on the planet.
Absolutely. Like I don't even go on Facebook anymore. Yeah. I go on and I go straight to groups and I just go through first the tribe feed. Mm-hmm. And then I go on to the wellness lab. And I know like Tiffany super inspired me to get back onto the wellness lab. And I'm like, well, I don't need the accountability. I work out every day. Like, I don't need that. I don't need all these things or whatever. But I'm like, but I used to be like that. Right. So I need to help people. And it inspires me because when they're like, oh my gosh, Amanda, you're helping me out. That makes me like jacked up. I'm like, well, now I got to just up it up a bit more and I got to be better yet. So it's a huge, it's awesome. Like,
isn't that amazing? Like it's so unreal. People, once you get the notion and the feeling of like, when you help, you're actually helping yourself. Like you actually get so much back. It's like a boomerang. Oh, yeah. As soon as you encourage somebody, it's almost like you get hit with this like force of energy. And then I always tell you guys this, like, people are watching, even though you don't know people or know you've never met them, but they watch what you do online and in these groups, and like you're motivating them and you're inspiring them. And there's something really cool about that.
Yeah. Well, and then another thing too, I've been working on is encouraging other people. I was like, okay, Jay, I ran out of my people. Now what? And you're like, well, no, like, like, don't have to, like, I was really digging deep. Like, these people that I had selected when I first started this journey were the people that have really impacted my life somehow. Yeah. And I like basically just gave them this big like love story. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. And you're like, well, no, it can be just simple. I'm like, oh, well, why am I making it way harder than it has to be? Yeah. We're sitting on the deck and this guy walks by and he's got the most killer Nikes on. I'm like, oh my God, I love his shoes. Oh. And he turns and looks at me. I'm like, oh shit, he can hear me. But they were awesome. And he has to know it.
100%. Like, and that's those little things are so powerful. Like, you never know where somebody else is at. And so yeah. I make it a point. Like, Lori and I went for a walk yesterday, and it's like, now, like, nobody will even look at you. Like, it's like head down, like, don't even look. And I literally said hello, like almost obnoxiously, to everybody we passed. And I would say 70% of them, you would have thought that I punched him in the face. But I know that at least one of those people, at least one of the 20 people we passed, was probably like, you know what, I'm going to do that now. Like, I'm going to pick my head up and I'm going to say hello to people. And I'm going to let people know that we're all in this together and it's all okay. And it's okay to communicate and still be friendly. And so I think some little teeny weeny tiny things like that, like, no matter where I'm at, I could be at Starbucks, in the line, anywhere. And I try to find something about somebody that I can compliment. And you'd be surprised, like, just the look on their face, it like changes their entire energy. That's encouragement. You don't even have to know the people, and it gives you power back.
Absolutely. No, I've been doing that too, and it makes you feel so good.
Yeah. And because you're just and listen, everything's a ripple effect. And when we give, we get. And I think that's where a lot of people lose sight of things. They think that I need to get first and then I'll give. If you guys will just start giving first, like, you guys have seen me this week. Like, I'll tell Marissa, I'm like, I'm only going to give away 10 of these. I think I've given away like 25 journals. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Marissa, we're only going to give this to these certain people. I end up giving it to everybody. Like, I want to just give value to people, and not just always with tangible things, but I want to give them value just from a perspective of knowing that from a human connection, like, we need to value each other as humans. I think there's a big, powerful message within that. What would you leave people with, like, Amanda? What would you tell people just about, just about life? Like, what's the message that you would tell anybody and everybody right now about, like, just living your best life and, like, telling yourself that you're worth it?
Yeah, telling yourself you're worth it, positive self-talk. And like I told you, I wish I would have started like when I first met you. It's never too late to start, because this is going to be life-changing. Like, I've already noticed a huge difference. I'm not saying my life has changed, because it's not, and I'm still working through it, but it's unreal how awesome I feel. And yeah. And I'm like, if I can teach my kids this right now, can you imagine the amazing lives they're going to be living?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a beautiful message, and a great thing to say is, like, if you can give your kids this energy that you have right now, can you imagine what they're going to accomplish?
Oh yeah.
Because they don't have to grow up like doubting themselves and not thinking they deserve it, or not thinking they can have it, or not thinking they can afford it, or this or that. Like, they're going to be so powerful that they don't have to work through the crap that we had to work through.
Right. No limiting beliefs.
Zero. And that's so powerful. And I think to your message of you wish you would have started, everybody wishes they would have started earlier. There's not one person, including myself, there's not one person listening, watching, replay live that says, I started at the perfect time. Nobody ever says that, right? And so that being said, no matter where you're at, it's okay. Like, you'll start when you need to start. Like I was telling you, like, literally Tiffany has followed me for years. And she finally decided, like, I'm done playing. I'm done staying in the edges. I'm going to get in the middle, and I'm going to see what happens. And you guys heard yesterday, and you're kind of the same way. Like, you left that night and you were like, negative self-talk. He probably thinks I'm this and he thinks I'm that. Oh, yeah. You know what I thought? I'm like, those people were really cool.
You're probably thinking, I want to help her.
No, listen, I want to help everybody. And so
I know.
That's just who I am as a human. Like, I'm always thinking, like, gosh, I bet if I could spend some time with that person, they would feel this way differently. Because we were having a bad day, right? And I'm like, gosh, I could have flipped her around like that if she would know me. Yeah. And so, yeah, I always think that, but I never think negative. I have this saying that I tell myself all the time. Once you judge someone, you can't help them. You lose the ability to help anyone that you judge. And so I really try to live my life from a non-judgmental place of any aspect. No matter if somebody's having a bad day or says this or says that, like, I just remove all of those thoughts from it. And my thought process goes from, how could I be of service to that person? How could I provide them value? And I think that's a lesson we could all probably, like, really jump within. And I just want to say thank you to you for not only for just showing up today, because I knew when I asked you, I'm like, if she says yes, like, people are going to just love her. But I just want to thank you for your daily commitment and consistency and energy that you're bringing to my life just through the programs. I think you guys miss this point a lot. You don't really understand the value that I get out of all this, right? I get value from watching you guys grow and evolve, and it makes me better because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just helped Amanda. Now I have a new responsibility to continue to help her so that she can help somebody else. So when I see you guys being leaders and motivators and inspirers, I'm like, I got to up my game because it's not good enough. Like, one person's not good enough. 2 is not good enough. 3 is not good enough. Like, I want to inspire the world. And so the only way I can do that is when you do what you're doing. And so thank you for being that awesome leader that you are. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And like, yeah, that's exactly what I said. Like, when you show up and people are just, I don't know, it's just an awesome circle, you guys.
That's so cool. I'm going to get Marissa, if you'll jump yourself back into the broadcast studio, that way I can see if anybody has any questions for Amanda or myself. And if not, guys, I will give you some just closing remarks, and we will let you off on your beautiful Saturdays. I always have to check with Marissa to make sure the day is right before I say it. You were there. I said, what's today? Is it Saturday, day 6? I have to write it all down.
Well, because you just wake up every day and it's just a regular day. I don't even know what day of the week it is.
I really do. I honestly get up and I don't even know what day it is. I don't even know. I mean, if we got rid of days and times, I'd be perfectly fine. I'd be like, that'd be great.
Whatever.
I'd be a machine. All right, we're just going to give Marissa a second to jump back in here. Here she comes. Marissa, do we have any questions for Amanda or myself? We do. Okay, so Someone asked, what changes, Amanda, this is for you. What changes have you seen in your family? So just, kind of a global perspective of how has your change kind of transitioned into them?
Okay, well, my relationship with my hubby was not good. We have two amazing friends that actually took us in to do counseling because they're like, this is going down in a hurry. So they took us under their wing. They did counseling with us. And I was not in a good state of mind. I was pretty much had my mind made up already at that point that this wasn't working. And we are friends again. Like, it's unreal. Like, because I love myself. You have to love yourself before you can love anybody else, you guys.
Totally.
I totally said I was going to cry.
It's all right.
Anyways, so our relationship is awesome. It's so good. We're doing dates. We're going for walks. Like, we're friends again, you guys. This is awesome. And I appreciate him so much. It's unreal. So that's with him. My kids, I just learned to appreciate the little things, the snuggles, the hugs, the I love yous. It's amazing. My relationship with my parents has gotten way better because I'm not a victim anymore, you guys. You have to quit playing the freaking victim role. That's huge, because if you play the victim role, you'll be the victim for the rest of your life. Get out of it. Step up. If you have to be somebody, well, you are different once you step out of there. Anyways, I've learned to appreciate them for who they are. They did the best for the resources that they had at that time. And yeah, so everything's getting better.
So true. I wish I could hug you right now.
Thanks. I'm such an emotional person.
No, you know what? I think that there's value in that. Like, there's value in vulnerability, right? So, because a lot of times when we're not vulnerable, it means that we're trying to hide something. We have this mask on and we're afraid that people will judge you. I think that's another great thing about like the groups that we've created is you never really are afraid that you're going to be negatively judged. You always know that you can cry, you can laugh, you can scream, you can do whatever it is you need to do, and you're going to be accepted and loved and taken care of. And so I think I appreciate your willingness just to be so open and honest. And I think there's power in that because there's a lot of people. I said this at the beginning of the whole COVID-19 thing is that this was going to uncover a lot of stuff in relationships. It was either going to make relationships stronger or it was going to break relationships. And so I commend you for doing the work and for showing up for yourself first, because like you just said, you can't love anybody else on the planet if you don't have self-love and start to appreciate yourself. So hats off to you for being so awesome for that. The next question goes to, this may be somebody who is part of one of my groups or whatnot. They ask about the RPI, like our Sunday ritual of kind of the reflection, the preparation, and the intention. So the question is related to how does that Sunday, because you mentioned you kind of do a little longer session on Sunday, how does that get you prepared for the next week, as opposed to like before you were doing that, you're just kind of winging it?
So basically I reflect on, okay, so what did I do? Was it good? If it was good, awesome. How can I make it better? So what can I do? So then I write down what happened, how it went. If I can make it better, what would I do to make it better? And if it didn't go well, why didn't it go well? And what could I do next time so then it's better?
So it sounds like what I got from that is like your mindfulness about life in general and the things that you're going through has gotten way more advanced. And then your intention to actually use those things, use the adversity, use the challenge as a tool instead of as a crutch or a roadblock.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of the most powerful things about like the reflection process that we go through is, guys, not everything's going to go your way. We're always going to be presented with challenges and adversities and obstacles. And if you'll start to view those as simply, like I've said all week, an unanswered question, and Amanda hit the nail on the head, she asked herself those questions. Well, what could I have done differently? And, how was the outcome based on the decision I made? What's a different decision I could have made that would have given me a different outcome? And then she goes through that process. And now she's got a tool she can use for the next time something like that pops up.
And the next time it happens, you do it immediately, not that week.
Exactly.
At the end of the week.
Yeah, you just go to it now.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yeah, it's building, guys, we talked about it all week. It's building new patterns, new rituals, new habits, getting rid of old stories. I mean, she's a living, breathing example of that. This is a good, I mean, this is one of those, like, where do you see yourself questions, but give us your best answer. What type of growth do you see for yourself over the next 6 months?
The next 6 months. So that'll be January.
Yeah, basically end of the year. So 2021 rolls around. What are you looking at?
Okay. What do I see myself? Holy cow, that is a loaded question.
It's, I mean, 6 months is a long time.
It is. Like, I can't believe what I've done in 3 months. I will be coaching again. I'll be training people with confidence. I'm going to be thriving. Like, our boot camp is going to be thriving. I'll maybe take in some part-time people, personal training them. And my relationship with my husband is going to be unreal. Yeah. I told him, I'm like, we're going to be taking holidays every year, no matter what. And I've already got the money saved for our next one in January. Like,
listen, a lot of people have weird thoughts about money, right? It's one of those weird things. And when you're not in alignment and you don't feel good about yourself, it's really hard to feel good about money. It just is. Like, and all money really is, guys, is energy. It's an energy that you give to a certain thing. It's really not even a thing. It's just a decimal point in your bank statement. And so it's really an energy flow. And so that's a really tough question. And so I think for what I would like to interject into what you said is your relationships are going to be better. And what you mean by that is you're going to continue to evolve. Like, as you get better, your relationships get better. As you get better, your money gets better. And you're gonna start to attract, like you said, I'm gonna have more. Our boot camp's gonna be thriving. You're gonna get more part-time. It's so all you're talking about is you're gonna begin to attract people into your life. You're gonna begin to attract money and finances and beautiful relationships because of who it is that you designed to be. And you said this earlier about you started like visualizing the champ, which is just a better version of you. It's the version of you want to be. And so I'll interject a little bit. I know the question wasn't directly asked at me, but this is a good way for everybody to kind of look at the whole 6 month question. I don't know where I'll be in 6 months, but I can guarantee you one thing. It will be better than where I am today. And that will be predicated on the decisions that I make from today moving forward. And if I continue to make positive, powerful, intentional, mindful decisions, and I keep chasing the champ, and remember, the champ is just me tomorrow. And he's already done the things that need to get done. I'm following him everywhere he goes. He's paving the way. If I continue on that path and I continue to stay in alignment, I don't know what I'm capable of. And that's freaking scary in a great way. Like, I'm capable of so much. And I know you are too. And so, listen, I talk for a living, so it's very hard for somebody who doesn't to articulate that. But I know that's what you mean by that, because you and I talk a lot, and your journals basically say exactly what it is that you're going to be doing. So,
and it doesn't get easier, just you get better.
Get better. And and even though it doesn't get easier, it actually gets the more challenges you overcome, the more reward you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel awesome about it.
I'm going to have an abundance life.
I'm excited about the next 6 months for you. I think it's going to be unreal. And I feel blessed that I get to be a part of it. So I'm pumped about it.
I'm super blessed with my group. You guys are awesome.
So, Marissa, we got anything else? All right, Amanda, thank you so much. I mean, you are an absolute blessing. I love you. I'm so grateful that you're part of my life and part of our groups, and just, thanks for being you, and just keep being awesome. And I can't wait to see what we're going to get done.
Yeah, me too.
All right, I'm going to let Amanda drop down to the bottom. I'm going to just stay down at the bottom with Marissa in the broadcast center. I'll bring you guys back on so I can give you a proper goodbye before we go. And I'm just going to close it up, guys, and give you guys a proper goodbye, because I am bummed that this is coming to an end. Mindset Revolution is officially closing as soon as we stop this episode. And I just want to really give you guys a giant thank you and a giant hug of gratitude, like I said at the beginning, for coming along with me for 6 days, listening to me banter, listening to me teach. I hope and I pray that you got something of value out of this week. And I look forward to you guys continuing your journey in the Wellness Lab. I look forward to you guys that have joined Ignite. I look forward to working with you one-on-one for 30 days and just giving you just a deeper foundation of a mindset that I know is going to be pivotal to get you where it is that you want to go. And my ask would be this: stay connected, stay committed, stay consistent. This group has the opportunity, the Wellness Lab in and of itself. Some of you guys don't know each other, and you could build so many massive, valuable relationships, like Amanda was saying earlier, just by being a part of something so powerful and so positive, because you'll never show up here and not be loved, not be supported, and not be taken care of. That's my promise to you. And I'm always available. Please ask me any questions that you would feel that you'd like to ask. I try to do a live in the Wellness Lab once a week. But I don't have to do that live in order to help you. So if you have a question, please post it on the page. You can always tag Marissa in as well. And we will get you anything and everything that you need. For those of you guys that have decided to make the commitment to join Ignite, it's the 30-day program. Marissa will post the link up. You guys can check it out for you. Those of you who haven't seen it yet. Tomorrow is our official first day. Monday will be the kickoff day. But tomorrow we'll get you guys into the Facebook group. We will have a special Zoom live at noon tomorrow where I'll give you your first assignment for the 30 days. We'll do a meet and greet, and I'll give you the expectations and my promises to you for how the 30 days is going to go. So guys, thank you for being a part of Mindset Revolution. I am truly blessed and humbled that everybody joined, and I love you, and we will see you again very, very, very soon. All right, guys, have a beautiful Saturday. Bye. Wow, right, team? What an awesome interview. I know that you are just as moved by that as I was. What a powerful and compelling story of transformation and just making a decision that you are going to approach life and do life with purpose and passion, with reckless abandon. And what happens when you do that? What happens when you simply make the decision that life is worth living and that you're no longer going to merely exist, but you're going to actually go after life and get everything out of it that you absolutely deserve and desire. Guys, I'm speechless, for lack of a better term. I'm speechless. Powerful interview. That is an example of someone who is part of my Wellness Lab Launchpad, who has went on to make big, bold decisions in the transformation game of their life. So if you're not a member of the Wellness Lab Launchpad, I highly suggest you get your butt over there right now. All you have to do is go to my website, go to thriveforeverfit.com, scroll down. You're going to see a giant box that says join free group. Click that box. You'll be led into the group, and you will be given strategies, tools, tips, and access to the same information that you just heard that is going to be life-changing for you. It's going to be transformative in you achieving your goals, you getting the things out of life that you deserve and desire. That's all I want for you guys. I am simply a guy who wants to give you the resources. I want to be a tool for you to be able to use to get exactly what you want out of life. So get your butt over to the Wellness Lab Launchpad, join it, and start becoming a part of the family where you can have access to powerful and amazing people, just like the interview you heard. And I'd love to have you on the show. Let's create a transformation for you that is so powerful that we've got to tell the entire world about it. So I'll see you again next time. Have an amazing day. I love you. Be awesome. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.